You paid your credit card bill last month. Not the full balance, but a decent chunk. More than the minimum. You felt responsible, reasonable, ahead of the game. You weren't. Because somewhere in the fine print of your credit card agreement, a quiet mechanism was already running. One that took your partial payment, acknowledged it politely, and then continued charging you interest, not just on what you owed, but on money you had already paid back. That's not a metaphor. That's the math. Here's the thing about credit card debt in this country. It doesn't grow the way people think it grows. Most people imagine it like a tab at a bar. You spend, the number goes up. You pay, the number goes down. Linear, logical, controllable. But credit card interest doesn't work in a line. It works in a loop. And the loop has a name: compound interest. You've probably heard it described as a miracle, the force that quietly builds wealth while you sleep. Warren Buffett's favorite trick, the eighth wonder of the world. What nobody mentions is that it runs in both directions. Let's walk through how this actually works, because the mechanism is simple. It's just that the credit card industry has very little interest in explaining it clearly. When you carry a balance on a credit card, your issuer charges you an annual interest rate, the APR. The average right now sits somewhere around 21 to 22%. That sounds like a yearly number. It isn't. Not really. Here's what actually happens. That annual rate gets divided by 365. That's your daily periodic rate. Every single day, your balance gets multiplied by that tiny number. And then, this is the part that changes everything. The interest that just accumulated gets added to your principal, your new balance, the thing that gets charged interest tomorrow. Interest on interest, daily, without interruption, without asking. Run the numbers on someone carrying $5,000 in credit card debt. Not an unusual number. The average American household carries close to that. They make their monthly payment, a real payment, $300. They feel like they're handling it. In the first month, roughly $90 of that payment goes to interest alone. The other $210 reduces the actual balance. So they started at $5,000, paid $300, and their balance dropped by $210. At that pace, it takes almost 2 years just to cut the balance in half. And by the time the debt is fully paid, assuming no new charges, they've paid thousands of dollars more than they ever borrowed. The loan was $5,000. The total cost was closer to $8,000. That $3,000, it built nothing. It bought nothing. It was the quiet tax on not reading page 4 of a credit card agreement. Now here's where it gets genuinely strange. There's a feature many cards carry called daily compounding. Most consumers assume interest is calculated monthly. It isn't. The industry shifted to daily compounding decades ago, and the difference, while it sounds minor, is not minor over time. A card at 20% APR compounding monthly versus daily, the daily version generates meaningfully more interest across a year. The gap widens with larger balances and longer timelines, not dramatically in any single month, dramatically across 3 years of carrying debt. The whole system is engineered around the assumption that you will carry a balance. The minimum payment, that floor they set for you, is mathematically calibrated to extend your repayment as long as possible while staying technically compliant. You're not being helped towards zero, you're being maintained at a profitable distance from it. Step back for a moment. The credit card industry in the United States generates over $100 billion in interest and fee revenue every year. That money comes from somewhere. It comes from the compounding gap, the space between what people think they owe and what they actually owe. It comes from partial payments made by people who believe they're making progress. And the uncomfortable part isn't that the system is illegal. It isn't. Everything is disclosed. It's in the agreement. The daily periodic rate, the compounding method, the minimum payment formula, all of it is technically visible. The system isn't hidden. It's just explained in a language designed to be skipped. There's a quiet irony at the center of all of this. The people who least understand compound interest are the most exposed to it, and the people who understand it best are the ones using it to build wealth on the other side of the transaction. The bank isn't the villain in a simple story. The bank is just the one that read the math. So here's the question worth sitting with. If you knew, really understood, that carrying $3,000 on a card at 22% was costing you nearly $2 a day, every day in pure interest, would you make different decisions? Or would the numbers still feel abstract enough to ignore? Because that's the real trick, not the math. The math is straightforward. The trick is that small numbers, repeated daily, never feel urgent, until one day they do.